groundwater is the foundation of livelihoods of millions of people around the world. And it's very important to explain to the primary stakeholders that the more we keep extracting this resource in this manner, the resource itself will be destroyed. And in 30 years, we have over-extracted groundwater to the extent that aquifers have completely run dry.
And make sure that groundwater is managed well because of the benefits that it is going to bring us for sustainable development. And indeed also the benefits that groundwater has for climate change resilience. So it's an absolutely critical resource and a critical issue for us to be looking at.
Groundwater development, especially in the context of Africa, has lagged behind because of failure to establish sound business case that is supported by scientific elements and evidences. I think the most critical aspect of groundwater development is establishing a solid business case for groundwater development using scientific evidence.
Groundwater provides almost half of all drinking water worldwide, about 40% of water for irrigated agriculture, and about a third of water supply required for industry. But the policy attention is a major gap. The invisibility of groundwater in the debates around, for instance, climate change and resiliency and food security.
It's so important to build partnerships, therefore, around groundwater and around groundwater management to help us break out of this groundwater silo. And I think that has been such an important contribution of GRIPP.
Look at GRIPP as being a seed investment, as being very, very critical in establishing this baseline and a strong transformative foundation for groundwater development.
I think GRIPP created a novel mechanism for sharing and tackling problems and solutions around the development of groundwater issues, with a focus on food, sustainability and governance, including transboundary, which is of critical importance. Water does not recognize these man-made borders.
That very often the actors that are most heavily involved in water management are outside the so-called water sector, right? The so-called water box. They're farmers, and they're energy utilities, and they're conservation organizations. So building partnerships with those kinds of actors is so important.
We cannot solve the groundwater problem in a silo. We cannot solve the groundwater crisis from a hydrogeological perspective. I think those days are basically over, and now we need to talk about groundwater in a much broader context.
When it comes to water, the future is different from the past, but we've got some work to do to make sure people recognize that question needs to be asked and needs to be integrated into these research programs. So making sure that groundwater is part of the innovations that the CGIAR is going to be rolling out.
I think I tend to be a bit excited when I hear 2022, the UN Year of Groundwater, because for me, that is a do or die year for groundwater transformation. So my expectation in the year 2022 is a breakthrough in terms of groundwater development, a breakthrough and the year in which African governments and African institutions will centralize groundwater.
2022 as a stepping stone year, and groundwater being such a critical important of the sustainability agenda and water security for all, I think could really be a platform to help us leapfrog towards a more sustainable future, and making sure that groundwater is part of that solution agenda, perhaps even the solution broker.